So Stan Kroenke has called for an emergency meeting with Arsenal executives this international break, according to Sky Sports. And the key points for the meeting will include the state of the club, replacing Edu, January transfer plans, but also the summer transfer plans. That is according to Sky Sports. We're going to be diving into what that meeting could actually mean for Mikel Arteta, and especially, I mean, not in terms of sacking him, but most importantly, in terms of backing him in January and backing him in the summer. Last summer, I thought he was very, very close to getting to the Premier League. He needed a bit of a serious transfer plan. That didn't happen. Are we going to see a better January, a different January, possibly from the ones we have seen? And could Mikel Arteta have to answer difficult questions with Stan Kroenke? Because, I mean, if a guy has invested over 600 million in your project, this is time to deliver. So Sky is saying that, it's kind of a breaking story. I don't know why there is a breaking story, but this is what they're saying.
Let's start, though, with some breaking news from Arsenal, whose executives are travelling to the United States this week to meet with the Kroenke family for talks focusing on the club's summer transfer plans. There will also be some discussions about what they're going to do in January as well, and talks of how to replace their sporting director, Edu, who resigned from the club last week. Heading into the international break, 9 points off leaders Liverpool in the Premier League, fourth at the moment after that 1-1 draw with Chelsea at Stamford Bridge at the weekend. And the November international break was viewed as an ideal moment for the club's key decision makers to get together and discuss plans as they move forward without Edu.
So basically what they're trying to say here is that Arsenal executives are going to meet the Kroenkes, and we are going to be hearing a couple of decisions being made, but most importantly about January, but also about the summer. Now, for me, this wouldn't be a big story if it wasn't about the state of the club. I think it's a big story. I think they're reporting about it because it's a meeting about the state of the club. I mean, in a long time now, Arsenal have not been in this state. We've not been in a state where the manager has to answer really difficult questions. What is going on? Why aren't we winning games? This, that, and the other. Now, I highly doubt that this is going to, amount into a sacking. For people who are Mikel Arteta out, this is not the kind of meeting that would actually sack Mikel Arteta. I mean, you never know again, but we're going to talk about what has to happen in such a meeting. But I don't think Arteta going out of the job is going to be part of the agenda. As Sky Sports are saying, they're saying that executives are traveling to the United States this week to meet up with the Kroenke family. Talks focusing on the club's summer transfer plans will be key, but also a new sporting director is going to be talked about, and the January transfer window. So I think the Kroenkes are highly... I would say there are some of the owners in football that are really separated from the club. They're not into the club the way you would see Todd Boehly at Chelsea, the way you saw Abramovich at Chelsea. They're not that kind of owners. They're the kind of owners that give a manager a job, a sporting director a job, and then all of a sudden they go quiet for 5 years, 6 years until there is turmoil and havoc. So why are they calling for this meeting? First and foremost, I think everyone, including the Kroenkes, including the bosses, thought this is the season that Arsenal do what Liverpool did when they won the Premier League with around 98 points. This is the season where we're going to see our club really perform well, really bring in those good performances. We have had 2 good seasons pushing Manchester City, trying to win the title, and we have been very, very close. We have the numbers, we have the players are still around, and we had a summer where the manager decided that the key areas for him to win the league were adding a midfielder in Mikel Merino and adding Calafiori as well. So I don't think the Kroenkes are to blame for the lack of good transfers that we had. I don't think so. I think the manager this time, he's gone, this is who I want. Because if he wanted Victor Gyökeres, he would have got Victor Gyökeres. He would have spent £79 million or £80 million on Victor Gyökeres, and then probably don't buy Merino, or probably don't buy Ricardo Calafiori as well. So I think the Kroenkes are trying to, they've called in this meeting to reassess the state of the club. why are we in this position? While 2 years ago, we were thinking, actually 1 year ago, or less than a year ago, we were thinking that we are now ready to win. Because if you're an owner in your right senses, you cannot be told that this Arsenal project is going to win the Premier League this season. I mean, there is still hope. Mathematically, it is still 1,001 million times possible. But when you think about the juggernauts that are Liverpool and Manchester City, it is hard for anyone to convince you that this Arsenal team is the real deal this season. And therefore, I think the Kroenkes, they just want an explanation from Mikel Arteta. Now, injuries have been there. Red cards have been there. Officiation has not gone our way against Brighton, against City. And injuries have not been on our side against Liverpool. And a couple of other games where we've dropped points from winning positions. But the one thing that the Kroenkes will want to understand is how come one or two players getting injured has actually destroyed our whole structure that we have built for 5-6 years. How come? Like, you can't tell your bosses that because one player is injured, everything you've been building, 600 million worth of a project, is done. Just imagine you build, you build a house, or you build a tower, or you build a flat, and then you're told that this one iron mesh, that one iron mesh or one iron bar, if it crumbles, the whole of the structure, 1 billion plus or 600 million plus, is going to crumble. So I think Mikel Arteta really has to answer very, very specific questions, and he has to have a way forward. Like, he really, really does have to have a forward, because the new sporting director that is going to come in, you're not sure that he's going to be your mate. You're not sure that he's going to be your friend. If he's not, and he's looking at these results and they're not adding up to the 800 million that you're showing, that you have spent, well, probably you're not the right man for the job. So that's reason number one. That is reason number one for the meeting. And I hope it is not about sacking Mikel Arteta. We can't afford that now. Please don't sack him. Yes, he's a controversial manager, but I love my manager. I think he's steadied the ship at Arsenal. I think people look at us in a way that it's inevitable. It's inevitable to agree that Arsenal are great now. It's inevitable to agree that Arsenal are good right now. That's number one. The state of the club is going to be discussed, and I think it will put a little bit of pressure on Mikel Arteta, because he needs to be accountable. I think this meeting needs to start at Aston Villa last season. Why didn't you play either of Partey and Rice? You had them, and we were exposed like that. Why did you play Zinchenko in a game where you know he's going to be targeted? But that is number one. So number two, according to Sky, we are also going to have a meeting that will talk about the replacement for Edu. Now, a replacement for Edu is actually quite important for us now. Very, very important, actually. Because one, when do you replace Edu? How do you replace Edu, right? Who replaces Edu? If you're going to replace Edu after January, what happens in the January transfer window? If you're going to replace Edu after the summer, what happens in the summer? We were told that Arsenal discussed their transfer plans from January throughout the summer. So that means that this guy who's going to replace Edu has to come in, a new sporting director has to come in as quickly as Christmas. As soon as Christmas is here, this guy should be here, and he should be flipping the knots of the strategy 2025 or project 2025. And again, this is going to be very key, because the Kroenkes need to understand who is going to come in, how do they spend money, what is their reputation, how good are they, at their job, can they step into those big shoes left behind by Edu, but also most importantly, when this guy comes, right? Because January is going to be discussed, according to Sky. Arsenal are going to discuss January plans and summer plans. I think if you're going to discuss January plans, then the sporting director issue becomes top of the agenda. Because, again, Mikel Arteta is going to say, they're going to ask him, why are you not performing well? Well, we've had injuries, but also we lack a key player, a few key players in a few key areas. We lack a good cover in midfield, someone who's a little bit all round, someone who's a little bit braver than what we've got. Someone like Fabian Ruiz, we lack someone like that. Then in attack, we lack a good striker. We also lack a good cover for our wingers. So that means that if you're Kroenke, you're not going to win this, right? Because as a manager, Mikel has done well so far. I don't think you're going to sack him. And he's going to say, we need some more money. We need something like 150 million or 200 to re-inject in the project. So for me, what should happen in January is easy. I don't think Arsenal will spend over 50 million in January. But can we get that one player that can create a difference? So we want reinforcements in the field, want reinforcements in attack. It's hard to get a striker. It would be hard to get a good midfielder too. But possibly you could get a winger. I mean, we have seen Cody Gakpo move in January. We have seen Mikel Modric move in January. Noni Madueke move in January. So you could get a winger, like someone who can fill in for Saka, someone who can give you a different perspective, a different lens in terms of performances when Saka and Martinelli are not proving to be, performers, when they're not performing. So January is, should be key. It should be very, very key. Like I said, I don't see them sacking him. I don't see sacking Mikel Arteta come into conversations with, between executives and Kroenke. I think it's going to be about, can we give him one more year and back him? After that 1 year, we must be putting him under pressure to deliver. But most importantly, Sky is saying that the summer transfer plans are why Arsenal are meeting. If the summer transfer plans are why Arsenal are meeting, why we have a meeting between executives and the Kroenkes, then that wouldn't be a big story. Not really. Of course, they know Arsenal fans love a transfer, but not really. I think it will be discussed, and for Mikel Arteta, if he gets lucky to be part of this meeting, there are two things he's got to say to Kroenke. One, last summer was catastrophic. Last summer was a curse. Like, you just can't try to chase City, miss out on catching them by about 2-3 points, and then you go and buy nobody. You buy Neto, you buy Merino. Like, it was a catastrophic summer. That summer, on paper, should have been a summer that was better than the summer that we brought in Declan Rice. It should have been better. And in theory, it was a summer that was supposed to propel Arsenal to, greater heights. In reality, it deterred us. Because you see that Man City are struggling. 4 games without a win. Man City have dropped 6 points in their last 2 games in the Premier League, and we have not been able to capitalize on any. Not any. Like, imagine if Arsenal had capitalized on the Manchester City deficiencies this summer, this season, including Rodri going out of our game, Arsenal would be like 3 points or 4 points above City. But it's City above us by 4 points, and that's because we have not capitalized, we have not taken advantage of the fact that they have sick players, of the fact that they have players missing, and of the fact that the team is getting tired, and it's becoming very difficult for Guardiola to motivate that team, to motivate that group of players. So the summer plans will be discussed, and I hope Mikel Arteta gets a chance in the summer, and I hope this time he gets it right. I hope that as we discuss transfer and January, summer and January, I hope we get it right. First and foremost, last January, no one came in. We said all right. The team came back from Dubai. It was firing. It was okay. I don't think it's going to be the same this season. I can see Martinelli become a little bit better. I can see Saka increase on his consistency. I can see Kai Havertz increases on his goals, but you feel like something is lacking. And Trossard, is he going to come back into the player he was, the player you trust to finish those chances? Maybe, right? Maybe. But apart from that, I highly think that this meeting is going to be about replacing Edu. It's also going to be about questioning Mikel Arteta about what is really going on at Arsenal.